Good evening and welcome back to the Nexus Gaming Series. I am one of your casters this evening, Bahamut. Joining me is going to be Cat Peach. Are you ready for our game number 2, our next best of 3 series between the members of Once Bitten, Thrice Pie versus Few Loose Screws?
I am so incredibly ready just because of how this map pick thing went. I think both these teams are like, what's going on? And I'm really excited to see what happens.
Speaking of map picks, we actually had the coin flip won by the members of Few Loose Screws. They opted for map pick priority. They banned out Alterac Pass and Cursed Hollow. Sky Temple and Volskaya were banned out by the members of Once Bitten, Thrice Pie. And Brax's holdout, oddly enough, I kept saying over and over again, I was just like, ban Braxis, everyone bans it. They're like, no, we don't want to ban it. We want to first pick it. So that's where we're gonna be. That's where we're gonna be going to for game number 1. We're gonna jump back into our draft right now. Sorry, I was looking over at Twitch chat and it just I think I wasn't sure if they were asking about the Brain Power song or what. How or why we got to Braxis holdout. Thank you so much, Ektar. Thank you for everyone who came by and chat. Welcome everybody. Thanks for hanging out. We got bans, we got games. Cat Peach, what do you want most on Braxis holdout here?
It's Probius. Duh. Like, you already... Alright, so you got rid of Rexar, who totally bullies Probius here. Probius, known for only really being good at, like, controlling a, like, point or a section of the map. And so something like Braxis, very much like Volskaya, you just set up your pylons, you set up your warps, you set up your photon cannons, and you're good to go. So if you don't pick Probius here, I think you just lose. GG.
Well, we're gonna be seeing the members of Once Bitten, Price Thigh are gonna be going for the Phoenix here, and no, sorry, I lost it a little bit because you were going through you were talking about Probius right there, and then I just read what Stark said. I would rather blow torch my toes off instead of playing Braxis, and dang, just I was mid sip of tea when I read that, and just poof. But we do have a Johanna and a Kael'thas on the right-hand side. Really good for clearing the wave as well as clearing the Zerg wave. With that Kael'thas, Johanna does group of minions up together and pairs into the fact that she can also pull in heroes over these points. Really good brawler. But Phoenix, that first pickup on the side of Once Bitten, Thrice Pie, really strong with that Planet Cracker we often do see for the huge, massive, for the huge wave clear that you can bring onto the table with that. A Nubrek and Anduin on the left-hand side as well. I like the Anduin overall. He's just so powerful. We could see a Light Bomb on the Anubrek, so they're going to have that burrow charge forward. Light Bomb web wrap someone in the back line, then step forward, or web wrap someone in the front line and then step into the back line. So overall, the aggression coming out from the members of Once Bitten, Thrice Pie, very strong. And I agree with this Greymane ban going out against it. Like, there's aggression, there's dive. Let's take out that Greymane who would just solidify a lot of good kill potential. And if I'm sitting on the side of Once Bitten, Thrice Pie, maybe you just ban out support here. Stukov, Alex Draza, point control.
Yeah, I think some kind of auto attack damage as well, since we already have the mage pickup for Few Loose Screws. So maybe take out that Rainer we see a lot on Braxis holdout, or something along those lines. But they will go with the support ban out Stukov. I think you said really good on this map, just being able to throw that lurking arm down on one of the control points and just silence everybody there and force them to back up is a really good call. I'm
sorry, Cat Peach. Twitch chat singing Overpower. Or she's singing Brain Power in chat. Either way, we do have this Hanzo going to be picked up. Yeah?
I have not heard this song. I know Kage's been listening to it a lot.
Oh, hold on.
That's all I know.
Hold on. So I won't. Oh, I don't want to play it myself. Please stop. All right, here. I'm gonna put this in the DM between us. So you can have this. Enjoy that after stream, or even right now because it's a good pumping up song. But Anna will be also picked up here on the right hand side for the members of Few Loose Screws. I like this draft so far coming out from them. They need a solo laner on the right hand side as well as on the left. We could see Phoenix in the solo lane, but I kind of doubt that. They need a little extra damage as well. Something like a Leoric isn't horrible, but we're gonna be seeing a Chen and a Li Ming. So reset for the Li Ming, really good poke onto these points, and Chen's aggression and potential. Dare I say, Wandering Keg? I'll keep saying it until eventually I get it. I had
the more you say it, the more likely it is to come true.
It's like when you believe in Santa Claus. The more you believe, the more real he is. So the more you believe in Wandering Keg, the more real it is.
What do they call it? There's like the whole. It's not a mood board, but like a life board, where it's like if you put the things on the board that you want to come true, they will because you're thinking about them more often. It usually applies to actions you can take yourself, but maybe it applies to taking or other people taking actions that you want them to take.
Can I print multiple pictures of money out and put it on a board and just Will I get money?
You can do anything you want. Okay. You can put anything you want on your board, Bahamut.
Just wait till tomorrow when it'll be mine Bandit's board. It's gonna be money and just bark boxes. That's really gonna be it. But we have a Malthael to round out the draft here, and I really do like what we picked up here so far between these two teams. Oopsie. Just gonna fix our little Bandit background. I'm completely blocking him, so I'm just gonna go ahead and swap my camera for his, because I think that's the better camera right there. Oops. I don't know how I just did that, but sorry. Something just like my layers just absolutely went nuts here, and there we go. All right, cool. All right, that's better. I am now Bandit. But we are going to be loading in here in just a second, and I really like the draft between these two teams. Overall, any closing thoughts before we get into this?
I think that if Once Bitten Thrice Pie can get the successful dive and kill a target quickly, that things get really complicated for a few loose screws. So if they can really focus on calling out those targets and making that happen, I think they're looking in really good shape. But you can never doubt a Kael'thas and the ability to spread that bomb damage, so that's going to be something tricky to deal with.
Sorry, it's my layering's all over the place right now. I fixed my OBS finally. Things moved around, but we're in game. Let's actually get into this. My apologies. Alrighty, I pushed the draft button.
10 seconds.
I'm not falling apart, I swear. All right, let's go ahead and get into this. On the left-hand side, we got the members of Once Bitten Thrice Pie. We're going to be having Ghost Dunk going to be on the Chen. We have Snag is going to be on the Anubarak. Linehouse will be on the Li Ming. Falendrith will be on the Anduin. And in the solo, or in the bottom lane, we have Professor Bobo on the Phoenix.
And over in the red, we have few loose screws. We're going to see Wipeout playing the Ana. We're going to see a Brew or two on Johanna, a Cash on Kael'thas, Lompico on Malthael, and Bagatron on the Hanzo.
Speaking of Malthael, they're going to be picked off in the top lane, as that's going to be an insanely strong dive coming out from the members of Once Bitten Thrice Pie, and I guess, wait, hold on. This is going to be Joanna in the mid rotation, just going to be kind of stalled out a little bit. But I'm wondering, are they going to be? Yeah, this is going to be Chen rotating or staying in the top lane. They'll rotate the friendly team down into bottom and join Phoenix. I was wondering, I was like, are they going to leave Phoenix as the solo lane? They're going to run the Chen within this 4-member group and just pushing through top lane. Not going to be the case. They're going to just kind of throw out a little bit of damage, get that early game pick. And something to highlight really quickly here, as we can see on screen, as I'm showing the wrong talents or showing the wrong screen, a hero kill this early in the game, sub 1 minute, is going to yield them only 300 experience. That's not a whole lot, but it still puts pressure on the board, and it's a lot of good value right there, as this is going to be a Kosh going down, and that's going to be another pickup for the members of Once Bitten Thrice Pie.
And just to note, that's also going to be Convection Sex reset.
Yes. I didn't even notice that.
I don't mean to laugh, but it's Convection, and so if you're going to pick Convection against a team that is so dive focused, you got to play far back, and you have to be very cautious of your positioning.
That's going to slow down quite. That's going to slow down quite a bit of the game for the members of Few Loose Screws, because of the fact that they're going to be playing that. Oh wait, hold on. Did I not? Apparently. I have the, okay. I thought I knew the keybind to pull away our chat, but either way, we are going to be seeing this objective first popping up here. Malthael will be jumping onto the top lane as well, and now Brewer 2 is going to be forced back a bit here. That also will be Ana throwing out these sleep starts, trying to connect onto a couple with that. A little bit of a flame strike thrown out from Akash right there, and that will be Snag backing out. They don't want to spread the chain bomb to any friendly members, and they need to back out just slow it. Okay, good. Okay, phew. It was really, really close right there, but they're going to be able to make it out just fine, and this will be top lane held over by the Malthael, and bottom lane so far kind of halfway. We'll see who can get the charge here. It's 0-0, but Capiche just dive onto Bragaton, and they get picked off.
Yeah, taking out the Hanzo. Great setup for Once Bitten Thrice Pie. Hopefully should start backing off the members of Few Loose Screws here and get control of this beacon down at the bottom. And they're playing it textbook. They find the pick, they isolate the Hanzo, take him out, and they're just kind of rinsing and repeating that strategy thus far, and it's netted them 3 kills at this point in the game. So they understand the conditions of their draft, the condition of these fights, and we'll have to see if Few Loose Screws can start to maybe play around that. But it gets really tricky when you have just so many soft targets and you have your Malthael up in the top lane, so you only have so much front line to protect that Hanzo and that Kael'thas.
Stagger coming out from Ghost Dunk, going to be taking some damage right there, and I think they're going to try and delay this out as long as possible. Actually, Lompico might have known that they were coming up here, and they're just like, nope, I'm out, deuces. I am a Malthael that is not going to get picked off, but they stopped the channel, 14% in favor for the members of Once Bitten Thrice Pie, and they actually will go ahead and steal this away. On the side of Free Loose Screws, this might This is going to be invaded. This is also going to be a big fight over this point, I think. Or they just back off and say we don't want it. But a nice burrow charge forward from Snag. They find the Hanzo right there. That's going to be... Look at this. Look at this. I couldn't think of the name. Kael'thas just being body blocked and just being denied, so that's going to be reset onto the Convection once again. Look at the damage onto Joanna, who's going to be able to get through the gate. Very low on mana. They're going to have to Hearth, and at least for now, that will be held over by the members of Once Bitten Thrice Pie in bottom lane. But Lompico in the top lane is getting heckled by Ghost Dunk. Once again, going to be forced back to their gate, and Ghost Dunk could jump on this point, but it seems like they're going to go back and go for the experienced Soak, and Falindrith will go up here and grab the point. But a brew or two once again in bottom lane. Gonna hold this point. Cat Peach, this is such a good back and forth from both teams so far.
Yeah, this has been great. And I mean, I love the aggression of Fulu Screws to say, let's try to steal a camp without any kind of talent advantage, just simply from thinking you have the positional advantage. And so they're willing to take the risks. But I would like to see them have a bit more. It seemed slightly desperate. Like they don't know what else they can necessarily do against this style of dive. And there's the burrow charge onto Lompico. The boom burst damage coming out from Once Bitten Thrice Pie. And even behind kind of the splash damage that comes out with the orb from Lu Ming. You have everything else that is to offer on their team. It just all goes out and they get the kill. So now you can't hide behind your tank. You can't hide behind your gate walls. We know this team's just gonna come after you. If you're one of the softer targets on Fulu Screws, what are you thinking at this point?
It's just like, please, don't let me die anymore. I need to finish my Convection stacks. That's really what I'd be thinking. Or if I was a Hanzo, it's just like, you know what? I need to back up. I need to play safer. I need to play further back. The other thing too is that Hanzo did go for not advanced targeting. That's a different hero. I'm trying to think of the talent and it's not popping up in my head, so I'll have to cheat. Target practice, there we go. And so by hitting at least, I think it's every member once on the opposing side, yeah, hitting every hero, it's 30% increased range on that Stormbow. So I think that's the first step, at least for the Hanzo player, just to be able to get that extended range so they're able to play further back in the lane and they can be a little bit safer. Then when someone tries to step up, they have that agility to get out. On the side for that Kael'thas, like, I really wish they would have just gone into the Mana Addict to level 1. I kept wanting to say Fingers of Frost, but Mana Addict to level 1 would have been so powerful for them because of the fact that then once they have those 20 stacks, they're going to have a little bit of a shield for any of this dive coming out because in the draft, when you know this, it's a very dive-heavy comp, and we're seeing that right now. That's going to be the Blink Forward from Bobo. They're going to be taking some damage themselves. They actually don't have any shielding, but still going to be putting out enough damage to kind of split the enemy team. Akash got thrown back, and Cat Peach, they hold over this point, I'd say, on the side of Once Bitten Thrice Pie, as well as they have a talent or a level lead over the opposing side, too.
Bomb is onto Snag, trying not to spread it, but also stay in this Johanna's face, just to say once this Iron Skin has worn off, Anubarak can just bully Johanna out of there, and we see Brew kind of immediately back off. Low mana as well for the Hanzo, so they're gonna have to be cautious of that. Everyone else looking pretty alright. Phoenix just waiting for the opportunity to go in and start throwing down that damage as well. So right now, Once Bitten Thrice Pie playing really patient. Lionhouse taking a ton of damage. There's the Sonic Arrow to get a bit of the scouting. It looks like Once Bitten will back up, try to heal up before pushing into this beacon much longer. Save for them, you know, possibly giving death. But everyone's healed up now, so it's all good. They're going in. They got level 10. They're like, this is our spot. You gotta back out of here. There's the burrow from Snag. Very aggressive wipeout. Trying to get out. Will be saved.
They got 10 talent here. This is going to be Planet Cracker for that Phoenix, so this is going to be the wave clear from that Zerg, wave clear into the Zerg wave right there. The other thing to note too is I'm just looking at it, Anduin holding 10. So I feel like they're either thinking about the light bomb aggression and they want to have that as a surprise, or they're just like, you know what, we're going to pop Holy Word Salvation as necessary. And I mean, if you're good at, you know, selecting talents with your control keys, if, you know, control 1 would select your first talent, control 2 is your second, on so far and so forth. That's gonna be Chen popping Storm, Earth, and Fire right there. I'm confused by that. Were they thinking that they were gonna take the aggression? What, Cat Peach?
You have to assert your dominance. You say,
by using your heroics early.
Yeah, you just say, listen, the 3 of us are here if you want to brawl, and there comes the dive. Evagatron taking a lot of damage. The Cocoon is out onto Malthael. Hanzo gets picked off, and I fear for this Malthael's life as soon as this is over. There's the root, there's the jump from Chen, there's the pull-in, and there is kill number 2 for Once Bitten Thrice Pie.
We do have Anduin with that light bomb as well. Kael'thas is going to be holding 10. It does go into the Phoenix right there. So pretty much standard talents, what you'd expect, especially on a map like this. But while they have the enemy team in top lane racing, they're going to go ahead and themselves in bottom lane going to race this out. So it's going to be fort for fort on both of these sides, and they'll have some counter lane pressure. And this actually will be... Top lane is Zerg wave for the members of Once Bitten Thrice Spy, so taking out the top lane fort is really impactful for them. Same thing kind of happening in the bottom lane for the members of Few Loose Screws, so it just depends on how these fights really go here, as so far they've dominated every fight, 8-0 in kills. The Nubrak will go ahead and throw out some of those impales on the way out. That's going to be Light Bomb coming, or not Light Bomb, but excuse me, the... my brain right now. Leap of Faith. There we go.
You got this.
I got it. I absolutely got it. It is not way too hot in this room and hard to focus. But we do have this Condemn coming out, and they're just going to be pushing out. And we still stacking up on that Convection from the Kael'thas. Bragatron maybe found themselves in a bad spot, and they go down in this bottom lane.
So I imagine we'll see Beacon conversion swap for the teams as they're both kind of positioned opposite a little bit. The rotation's coming out. So eyes on the camp. For Few Loose Screws, get additional pressure into that bottom lane. Try to prep it even additionally more for what they hope is an eventual Zerg push in their favor. Have a little bit of a cap for them for the moment, but Ghost not able to contest just a bit. But right now I think, you know, Once Bitten Thrice Spy, they want that 13. They don't want to take any big risks before then. There's not really incentive to do that. So grabbing the camps, just pushing where you can, and seeing if you can catch someone out of position is really the name of the game. But they do have to respond to the beacon control on the side of Few Loose Screws. Looks like they're going to do that with a team fight.
Bottom lane, we're going to be having Chen kick in right there. That's going to be the Nano Boost onto the Kael'thas as well, but they're not going to get any value with this. They're trying to throw out some damage, but they're not going to be able to step forward and get anyone low enough. They just back off. I think they saw the Nano Boost, and they were just like, no, cool, we don't want to fight this. Top lane does have that camp pushing in right there. Do they ignore this and try and push in further into bottom lane? Seems like it. They've got a camp of their own that they want to get value with. The Reaver minion, I think it only provides vision. I don't think it provides any sort of extra shielding, much like we see the mages on many of the other maps, like Sky Temple or Cursed Hollow, where that mage will actually give you some spell armor. These ones, I think, just provide pure vision for the friendly team, even if it is going to be a stealth unit. But we don't really have that situation here in this game, as this will be bottom lane being converted over in favor for the members of Once Bitten Thrice Spy. And they're going to step further forward, maybe chasing a couple of members into their backline. That's going to be the dive onto the Kael'thas. Every time they dive onto Kael'thas, I'm just like, what are your convection stacks at? And it's going to be 11 right now. And they don't want that. I think that might have been, that's the highest that they currently are. And they also can see that Malthael's in top lane, so they do have dominance over this lane, as well as the talent to your advantage. But they're not going to step any further forward with it just yet.
Yeah, I would like to see them do that before the Malthael can return, but we'd also see the Chen rotating top to try to get control of that beacon. So the name of the game is just to try to tie up that progress between these two teams. But I'm just waiting again for Once Bitten. Once they get into position, once Snag can really get in that dive, I'm just waiting to see the whole team collapse. There comes out the Cocoon. This is where their engagement has to be, but Snag ends up backing out. Seems like they don't want to go in onto the backline too far, so everyone just focuses on the Johanna. The Iron Skin is popped. The other stun is there, trying to body block, but Johanna gets away after all of that, and they end up losing their Chen.
Storm, Earth, and Fire not even being used there. I think they were just confident that they'd be able to get out. And they don't manage to, and so this will be bottom lane being converted back over, but top lane rotation. Cue the yakety sax music where everyone's just rotating around the map and just... And look at because look at this. Now they're going to be going, I would assume that they just take the right side and then just go into bottom lane. No, not yet. Okay. They will grab this camp on the bottom left, so that will be pushing into the bottom lane, and now they're going to be coming into top. Maybe once they get the vision, they will dive into bottom. We are currently seeing the vision for the members of Once Bitten Thrice Spy. That's going to be the Nano Boost onto Akash, who does get impaled as well. They're going to just try and body block the Anubrak within there, and Anubrak's like, my dude, I can burrow through walls. I'm good.
I got this. Don't
Sorry, really weird tangent, but that just reminded me of something like I was watching Heroes of Storm with one of my friends ages ago, and I just randomly turned them out, and they were playing on Sky Temple, and I was like, you know, if Anubrak burrow charges on Sky Temple, doesn't he just fall to Cursed Hollow below? Because if he burrow charges, because Sky Temple's floating in the sky, and we all know that, not Cursed Hollow, but Haunted Mines is below Sky Temple in our lore, because the Vikings fall from them in the trailer, but Ghost Dunk going to be able to get pulled right out of there, and I think they just disengage from this 100%. Zerg Wave will be in favor for the members of A Few Loose Screws overall, as the Planet Crackers A little, is it a little early? No, they get most of the wave with that, but I was expecting it at a little bit of a different angle. Still, top lane Zerg is going to be coming through, and I would say half the Zerg wave with that Planet Cracker. Really, really strong.
Yeah, I mean, any damage onto it before it gets to these gate is good damage, given that you already have the fort down and they're pushing into the keep wall. Unfortunate that they also have the camp pushing on top, so once Bitten Thrice Pie really playing on the back foot with this push in both lanes, so Malthael can commit to clearing out the Zergoid in top, continue to push in that top lane in their favor all while this is happening on the bottom. Most of the Zergoid is gone now, the Nano Boost is out onto Kael'thas, and they're trying to find anything, but the members of Once Bitten Thrice Pie immediately back away. They don't want to feed into that Kael'thas boosted damage, so they play it safe, wait for the disengage, and this wave is over. Not really too much gain, but positional advantage still in favor. A few loose screws here. Having these lanes pushed out, experience still pretty tied up, so if they can get another kill or two and get that experience lead, they're going to be sitting very well to control the rest of this game.
I agree. Yeah, it's as they're scaling on the side of Fearless Screws, they're looking really, really good. Also, Twitch chat calling me out. I forgot to change him to her for the co-caster command, so my apologies, Twitch chat. Very, very sorry. Yeah, just oopsies. I forgot to do that. But we do have this bottom lane pressure coming in, and it is so far they're really, really starting to like step further forward in this game on the side of Fearless Screws, and their pressure amounting is a little worrisome. Also, this Kael'thas sitting at 15 out of the 20 stacks necessary for that, but Lompoco finding themselves in a bit of a rough spot. Light Bomb goes out onto one. They find themselves a Malthael. That was also the web wrap out onto the Joanna. They're looking for Linehouse right now. Can they step further forward and get it? Doesn't look like that'll be the case as Ghost Dunk pushes them back. You know what would have pushed them back a little bit stronger? A Wandering Keg, but we're not gonna get it.
Remember, just use the pandas to assert your dominance. That's all you gotta do.
Wait. Someone's saying that Tomb is below Sky Temple, but the Vikings fall off a Sky Temple in their trailer, and then they fall to Haunted Mines.
I don't remember.
I'm like, I just remember seeing that video so many times. I'm sure of it. I'm so sure of it. All right, sorry. Anyways, let's actually get into the game at hand.
Receipts, Twitch chat. We need the receipt. Get us the.
Of course, Discord, by the way, just decided to robot you at that exact moment.
Thanks, Discord.
I don't know why, but it's going in and out. I do apologize as well. I can't do anything. Actually, the only thing, let me just really quickly while I have this moment in the game, we're gonna change the server over to I can't change region. Never mind, I won't do anything. It just says unknown region. But we are just going to be having the beacons activate in the next 7 seconds. We have forts down and top and bottom. Pretty even game, despite the 10-2 in kills. It's a fairly even game. Experience is about dead even, and forts are going to be the exact same. Can they start to run away with this on either side? I think this is going to be a fight that might determine that, as that was a web wrap onto one. Capeach, can they go further than that?
They keep getting the web wrap onto this Johanna, but we saw before when they did that and tried to focus once it was top that they couldn't get the kill, and they aren't really set up to then surpass that cocoon and go to the back line. And so these cocoons, I don't know if they're just a bit preemptive, trying to stop less shield from coming out at a certain time, but the targeting isn't benefiting them. The dive that they really need to get the picks that we've been seeing kind of in the earlier stages of this game, it seems they've lost that momentum a bit on the side of Thrice Pie. So I'd like to see them try to use that a little bit more to their advantage to say, if the cocoon goes out, we need to get a kill out of it. But we see them just kind of backing off, resetting, seeing what they can do. A Brew goes in, gets the condemned. Lompoco doesn't get the wave to connect onto a Nubarak. Beacon goes over.
They hold it for now. Top lane's still going to be the aggression. Kael'thas, gonna finish out Convection. Doesn't matter if they die now. Let's see what kind of value they bring to the table now that they don't have to worry about their death. And look at this aggression already coming out. Now they're gonna be able to hold this point over. No one on bottom lane just yet either. And this is gonna be Linehouse just throwing out a few magic missiles and arcane orbs here and there, trying to connect onto a couple members and whittle them down slowly and effectively. But it's just this top lane hold, and the longer they hold this is going to be in favor for the members of Fearless Screws, because they've got periodic catapult pressure in their favor, mounting in that bottom lane every third wave, but still, it will naturally win out and start to stack up. Top lane will be finally held over by Snag, and Brewer Tour will step forward onto it as well. Web wrap out onto Joanna. They're going to be stepping forward onto this Kael'thas. Light Bomb goes out as well. They're just stun locking Kael'thas, and they get the blow up onto them. No value right there, as that is going to be the dive coming out onto Malthael from the Storm, Earth, and Fire. That's going to be Phoenix blinking forward as well. Nano Boost went out onto the Hanzo, just trying to get as much damage out as possible. A brew or two, I think, is going to take the sacrifice and just back out or just kind of chase or pull the enemy team away from the friendly team. Maltheo, I think, might try and jump onto this point on bottom just to get the kind of yakety sax moment, but I don't think they care too much about that, as that's going to be Chen rotating down slowly, and they go for the boss immediately. Really good call, really good initiation, and really good fight coming out from the members of Once Bitten, Thrice Pie.
And that's what you want to do with Dr. Kuhn on the Johanna, and finally, the team's on the same page. They get the dive onto the Malthael and to the Kael'thas. They get those kills. They can now get this boss. They can start pushing things out. Keep on the bottom, though, losing a lot of health very quickly. Bobo's going to go down and try to save it. That catapult pressure you talked about, you can't ignore, and they might just barely hang on to this fort for a little while longer, which could be a saving grace for Once Bitten Thrice Pie for the rest of this game.
On a note of the boss really quickly, we are seeing it go into bottom lane. For anyone who's wondering at home why it went into bottom lane, it works in the same mechanic as Battlefield of Eternity, where the mortal will always go to the most well-defended lane. Boss will do the exact same thing here. Top lane fort was already gone, so it moved into bottom lane. They're actually going to be stacking this in with the Zerg wave, so they're going to essentially prep the lane, prep the wave, and everything with this bruiser camp, with this boss camp, or with the boss, and then they're going to be having a Zerg wave coming up in about 20%, which won't be... there's no way, I don't think they can stop this. The Nubrex should be able to deter them from jumping on the bottom, and there's no one we know on this top lane available to go ahead and try and delay that out. So Planet Cracker going to be coming up into top lane. You can actually see this coming across the map, and it's going to get some decent value just taking that Zerg wave that was already at half down to about a quarter, maybe an eighth, however you want to split that fraction. But 19 to 18 in levels, 12 to 2 in kills, and they're stepping up onto this bottom lane keep. Cat Peach, can they take the game, or is this just going to be keep?
We have potential for a game. If Once Bitten Thrice Pie can get 20, I think it's definitely game, so long as they don't lose any members here. And so I think clearing out this gate, maybe starting to get some of the damage onto the keep, let the Zerg wave deal with the keep, and then just focus on that dive yet again. See if you can take out that Ana or that Kael'thas for the initiation. But it looks like they're gonna wait a while. They only have those range units available with that wave down. I'm just trying to get the damage out. There's the condemned. Here comes the dive. It doesn't connect onto Lompico. Snag trying to body block their way through. But there's the light bomb coming through. The last rites is out, and a new break is going to go down. And this is falling apart now for Once Bitten, Thrice Pie. Possibly going in a bit too eagerly. And there's the danger of doing that before you have the 20.
Zerg wave is going to be reset here, and they're also going to be chasing in further. I was waiting to see, like... Hanzo just needed to get one Stormbolt off onto the one last remaining Storm, Earth, and Fire unit, because if you kill all three, you'll kill Chen. If you don't kill all three, Chen will revert back to their previous form, whatever health and mana they had. Or I guess not mana, but brew. And so it's really, really cool to see them just get away with just a sliver of health on that last Panda. That leap of faith from the Anduin, I think, really solidified making sure that happens. But here's the thing, with 2 members down on the opposing side, regardless of their 20, they will be able to step forward and take out this bottom lane keep. That means there's consistent catapult pressure in their favor in this bottom lane. I'm a little surprised that they're not going to be trying to step forward onto the core a little bit. It's just the Anduin and the Phoenix. Seems like they're just going to be going for a little bit more map pressure. The next wave for Zerg will be in bottom lane in favor for the members of a few loose screws. It does cycle from top to bottom every single time the objective occurs, so we knew that the last one was in the opposing lanes like that, so we now know it's going to be in bottom, and that will be free walk into the core if they are able to get 100% once again. But we saw that last engagement over those beacons, Cat Peach, really didn't go over in favor at all for the members of a few loose screws, and Once Bitten Thrice Pie looking extremely strong in our game number 1 here in our best of 3 series.
Yeah, I think after this camp gets cleaned up, what I would love to see from Once Bitten is find themselves a couple greats to hide in, try to see if they can sniff out a rotation, and immediately dive onto the backside without having to go through Johanna necessarily. So a little bit of the surprise factor that helps with that engagement, and also just being able to have the double stun. You have the root from Anduin. You have so many tools in that toolkit on the side of Once Bitten Thrice Pie that I think they can make it work, and that can be their ticket to taking a keep and taking the game. So we'll have to see if that's something they're willing to do. Maybe through a rotation between the beacons. We'll have to wait and see.
It's definitely going to be a waiting game to find out who's going to be coming out on top, because both teams kind of have a win condition in a sense. Bottom lane still is a keep on the right hand side of the opposing side, but that's not going to be a terrible burn for them. They've got great siege, and they're going to be able to burn through that if there's nothing really resisting them, or if they even have a camp or two pushing in that wave. Web wrap onto 1. Oh, can Joanna make it out alive? She does have the indestructible as well, so she pops the Iron Skin immediately. That's going to be them trying to walk through here. They're going to take a lot of the damage, going to have that cycle onto that ability, or at least onto the Iron Skin. They're going to be able to make it out alive. That's going to be Phoenix coming out a little bit early right there as well. I think it zones a couple members back, but it still leaves this point up and available for contest. If they can delay them out from backing into their top lane, this will be the camp and the wave pushing in and taking down this keep. They know this, and they're going to go ahead and get the clear. Boba will be showing to the enemy team, and they do know this. They can see that there are a couple players there. Top lane is going to be halfway turned over. Hanzo may be going for the... Yeah, I think they're going to be going for the play into the top lane. They want to try and get this charge as quickly as possible. The other thing to note, too, Joanna did finish the subdue at level 7 as well. They hit 4 people with that punish. That's so hard to do.
It is really hard to do. I usually never finish it because I am bad at this video game. However, the players on these teams...
Oh, Hanzo, arrow, play of the game. Unfortunately, they're not going to be able to go any further with that. Really quickly, also to note, Selexia, thank you so much for the 69 bits. We very much appreciate the support this evening. But Maltheo will be going ahead and throwing out a little bit of shade, marking Snag, going to get a little vision for the friendly team as well through that. They'll be rotating into the bottom lane, trying to get the bottom converted over in their favor. Boss is up and available. We've got some camps going to be picked up, I think, on both these sides. It looks like we have the Siege camp on the left and Bruiser camp on the right, and they'll be holding over this bottom lane as Hanzo is back. I think they might have Hearth back just to get full mana, and they are resetting this fight. Heroics are down across the board except for the Dragon Arrow. This is that late game where like one mistake is the critical end for one of the teams here, Cat Peach.
Yep, for sure. And that's why I think you have to look at what the compositions excel at, which is why I was saying for Once Bitten, Thrice Pie, try to find that surprise dive. On the side of Few Loose Screws, honestly, so long as Johanna is leading the charge and everyone else is trailing fairly far behind, if Johanna can get the vision, have the safe rotations, I think they're sitting pretty well. They have the really good defense as well with that Phoenix to be able to zone around these beacons. So there's a lot in their hand that could help stall this out, but one successful dive and it's gonna possibly be the end for them. So it's still very close, even though we have the one keep down on one side and not the other. You know, the next team fight is really gonna make or break this for either side.
We got vision right now for the members of the blue team, and then we just show Snag just going to dive forward, gets just the tap onto that beacon, so it's going to be resetting to the halfway point. They'll probably do the same thing in bottom lane. Actually, not going to be going for that just yet. So charge still going forward. They're going to be just about past that 50. We're going to see Snag touching the bottom and just being such a nuisance with that. We could see Hanzo maybe using the agility to jump over the wall and get closer to that objective. Joanna is going to be also scouting out this camp on the left-hand side. They're not done with it just yet, but I don't think the invade is going to be coming out. It's a little bit of a risky invade on that side of the map, just because it's more favored towards the enemy team. Bottom lane, though, is stacking up. Look at that mini-map right now. We have one catapult approaching that keep front gate area where it used to be. Bottom lane will be held up by a brew or two, and Chen kicking out into top lane, going for the clear up here. It's just so all over the map right now for both these teams. As I'm mostly watching the mini-map, not even the fights that are engaging, because the rotations are really, really strong, but is this the rotation where we see a fight? Both teams are kind of trying to play away from that fight and just trying to play around the objective.
Yeah, everyone's very nervous to engage because I think they understand the stakes of what the next team fight brings. And I think so far for Few Loose Screws, they don't have to be the ones to necessarily push the issue as much as Once Bitten, Thrice Pie does. They have 52% progress on that beacon. They have that bottom lane so pushed out. So the minute they see Phoenix show and clearing out that bottom lane, they can start the rotation and try to find the pick. There goes Johanna into the cocoon. Snag goes in. The Dragon Arrow does come out. Here come the Pandas pop. There are the pals. There's the Phoenix, though, to provide the disengage. And there is the last right to take out a Nubarak. That is the first kill. Then goes out. The Pandas trying to do their best onto Joe. The orb does not connect. Damage is not there, and the retreat is on for Once Bitten, Thrice Pie. The bomb is onto the Pandas. It gets spread around. They're trying to get the kills, but these Panda boys just mean that we'll get Big Chen back. But now we have full beacon progress over to the side of Few Loose Screws, and this is looking like the beginning of the end of this game, Bahamut.
Boss is going to be picked up here, so they're going to have top lane pressure and bottom lane pressure coming in. So Boss and top, Zerg and bottom. They will have the Anubarak up for maybe some of this. The other big thing to know is watch the Planet Cracker from Professor Bobo. Watch it come through right now. They're currently setting themselves up for the angle. There it comes through. We can see that not the entire Zerg wave, but I'd say a solid Half, we're rounding right there, but a good half of it is going to be just taken out by the Planet Cracker. It is a very long cooldown, but I think most of that heroic is mostly going to be chosen for specifically just clearing out the Zerg wave. Now, 80 seconds on that. They are going to be having their new Barak back up in 2 seconds. The web wrap is up and available as well, so Cocoon can shut down someone like the Joanne in the front line. The Zerg wave isn't here just yet. Boss is now approaching in the top lane as well. Zerg wave in top lane is going to be pushing into the enemy side. That's going to be the Hanzo with the arrow lockdown. That's going to be Chen going down immediately. No pals are going to be summoned, and this is going to be the members of Few Screw stepping forward. Falendra taking too much damage, and they go down. The GGs are going to be called, and that will be game number 1 over to the members of Few Screws. GG. Well played.
Yeah, very patient from both sides at the very end there. Very strong early game coming out from Once Bitten, Thrice Pie, and I feel like they could have had a lot more successful engagements, but I don't know if there was just something going on with comms or if they just felt like they weren't properly set up to get that optimal dive. But somewhere in the mid game, things started to slip, and they seem to have struggled to come back later in the game. So well played for Few Screws. Very good Kael'thas play, spreading around that damage. And a very long Braxis game.
28 minutes. 29 minutes. I mean, it's 2 seconds off, but 29 minutes for our game number 1 between these two teams, really showing that there's some prowess to be held between both of them. The other factor too is it definitely shows that Philo Screws, I wouldn't say so much as like woke up, because that feels a little rude to say, but just maybe they just
came online.
I think it definitely I think their composition definitely came online in that 16 to 20 area, and they started playing slower. They played their fights a little bit more. I think they knew the combo that was coming out every single time, so they played around that. Hanzo being able to shut down a lot of the engagement where they stepped forward and they were getting the potential blow up onto a couple of these players was constantly being mitigated by that dragon arrow every single time. I really it's just great plays from both sides. It was such a good back and forth, and I personally had no idea who was going to be taking it, but in the end, Few Screws will be able to take that game number 1 in a very good, a very fought after fashion, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't a cakewalk for them whatsoever. And I saw chat joking, and we were kind of joking, like, when does Kael'thas finish the convection stacks? And that was a very big risk for them to take, and especially with the early kills onto Kael'thas, it was not looking so good. But as soon as it was completed, we saw Kael'thas stepping up a lot more, and Akash able to really assist in these team fights rather than simply having to constantly be on the retreat.
It was such a good game number 1. I really enjoyed it so much. I was worried. I was just like, oh, I'm just staring at the chat, and I was like, oh wait, great, is Bandit's covering for me, so that way I can just not pay attention to the camera whatsoever. But we're currently finding out what we're going to be getting for our game number 2. Let me update the team score so everyone actually does know who is currently winning in our best of 3 series. And yeah, thank you all for joining. Thank you for supporting. Washed Up Streamer, thank you for the host during all of that. I appreciate that support, my friend, and everyone in chat who I haven't said hi to or any of that good stuff. I can say words. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting. We really do appreciate all of this. And thanks for watching. Also, if you haven't followed Cat Peach, hit ! Co-caster and follow her on social media as well as Twitch. She's a great caster, great streamer. Do all that stuff. Bandit, you are so good at plugging Cat Peach's channel. It's amazing. But
also, you can follow Bandit on Twitter.
Yeah, you can.
Bandit Gaming 12.
For some reason, it tacked on a 12 right at the end. I was creating the account on my phone, and it didn't do that. I was like, cool, Bandit Gaming isn't taken? Wonderful. Like, let's go. No, it added that. Oops. But Bandit's Twitter will get verified before mine, as we all expect, and then I'll just have the mods at Twitch or Twitter change it over. We're currently just waiting to find out what our map is going to be. Maybe I should ask.
Yeah, looking at some of the heroes profile data, I would think that we might be going to Dragonshire if this is a map pick from Once Bitten, Thrice Pie. Both teams have a pretty high win rate on Tomb of the Spider Queen specifically, and so I wouldn't necessarily want them to bring the next game there, because Few Screws has just as much of a chance to win that out. But Dragonshire, not on the side of Few Loose Screws, but definitely on the side of Thrice Pie. It's one of their most played. It's one of their highest win rate maps, so they can potentially go after the map choice to try to sway this into a Game 3 series.
Alrighty. Apparently, I'm only allowed to ask the captain. I was told not to ask anyone else
Ooh,
I was told to ask just the captain, no one else. But we got our map. Let's go ahead and actually get into this. We'll make the lobby here in just a second. And sorry, I just want to update.
This is not what I wanted.
No. No.
Was this whose pick was this?
This is going to be the pick for the members of Once Bitten, Thrice Pie. Yes. Okay.
Interesting.
Let me invite only the captain first. But we are going to be loading into our second map in just a second. We're getting the lobby set up for that. And with that, I like Few Loose Screws. I don't know if that was just them kind of getting the momentum, getting their footing here and understanding the enemy team, or if that was just a really, really good kind of turnaround as the game progressed. Because Once Bitten, Thrice Pie, they're a really strong team, and I think that they could take us to a Game 3 here. Like, I definitely think that this could be a Game 3 territory because of how much pressure they're able to put out constantly on this map and a lot of the maps that I've seen them play on. So I'm excited. That's all I can really say, because I think this map for our Game number 2 is going to have a lot of good brawling, a lot of good fights, and we might actually see a different matchup as well as different playstyle coming out from the members of Once Bitten, Thrice Pie. Or they just go into a dive composition once again, and I worry that if they do that, what the response will be from a Few Loose Screws. Because if you play the same composition to a team and they just dealt with it, and they kind of understand your style and dive, then I worry that that's just going to be like, cool, like, we know your initiation, we know what to look for, we know how you're going to posture. Now at this point, we're going to be able to kind of just roll against that and be able to kind of counter it constantly. So it's as we're getting to this best of 3 series, both these teams are definitely learning off each other and going to understand how to play against one another a little bit better. But looks like we do have everything set. I think Captain needs to be set to that, and I think we're all good to go.
Yeah, I think going into the draft, just looking at the last draft, we saw the first pick Phoenix, and I'm not sure that was necessarily the most contested pick that would have occurred. Yeah. So I guess going into Game 2, rip away something like the Johanna or the Kael'thas if you want to play it here, because the Kael'thas, I'm sure if it's let through, will be picked up again. It's one of his better maps, one of the more obvious ones that a lot of players like to choose him on. So taking that away, take away the Ana. Ana is just so dang strong. Still ban that out if possible. But we saw a couple really wacky bans too. Like we saw the Zarya and the Ragnaros ban from Once Bitten, Thrice Pie. So maybe go a bit more. I don't want to say just go more meta, because that's not always the right call necessarily. But just take it all into consideration going into the next game. I'm not sure, like, if it's just like ban out the Kael'thas and that's just going to be it, but we do have our... Sorry, I'm just letting the teams know that we're going to be going because we are ready, set, and go, and let's jump into our second map of the evening for this Best of 3 series. We got ourselves on... Rah!
Welcome back to the Nexus Gaming Series. I am one of your casters this evening, joined by Cat Peach. Thank you all so much for hanging out. We have the members of Once Bitten, Thrice Pie down 1 game in our Best of 3 series, and we have a Few Loose Screws, potentially closing it out in a 2-0 fashion. Can they, I wouldn't say knock out, but I guess kind of cause an upset? Because the Once Bitten, Thrice Pie we're feeling that they should win this series, or at least they're confident with their abilities in this series. But so far, Few Loose Screws put him on a bit of a stumble at the start here, Cat Peach. I'm liking our Best of 3 series so far.
Yeah, I think Once Bitten so far this season have maybe stumbled a little, so I don't know if it's just nerves and feeling like they can't really get back into it this season, but any game is winnable, and I always love to go back to that. Any game, any draft is winnable. You just have to know how to execute on it. And the members of Once Bitten, Thrice Pie, I know how to execute. They're a bunch of very smart players. Yep. I see the things that they theorize all the time. I see them really active in a lot of discourse around heroes and drafts and things like that. So I have high hopes to see them perform well in this next map.
I think they'll do great. But speaking of maps, we got some bans that took place. Let's go ahead and jump over to those really quickly. The coin flip was won this evening by the members of Few Loose Screws. They opted for map pick. They banned out Alterac Pass and Cursed Hollow. Sky Temple and Volskaya Foundry were banned out by Once Bitten, Thrice Pie. Braxis Holdout was the first map chosen by Few Loose Screws and won by them. It was a 29-minute game. Really, really good one. If you missed it, please go and check it out. And then Infernal Shrines will be the choice by the members of Once Bitten, Thrice Pie, as they've opted for map pick for game number 2, giving first pick, first ban over to the members of Few Loose Screws. Let's get back into our draft here, as we have a Hanzo going to be banned out by Once Bitten, Thrice Pie. Maybe they ban out the Kael'thas. I don't know if it's worth. I don't know if it was like that detrimental. Yeah, the Joanna is a little bit stronger in that, right, with the rotations. Maiev and Anub'arak being banned on the right hand side. They don't want to deal with the dive potential coming out from either of those. And Anub'arak in the last game, extremely strong. But first pick coming through from a few low screws. I would say maybe just prioritize your main tank or your support that you really want, and that's going to be the Ana. I like this kind of draft so much. We've had the draft evolution over quite some time, especially because of the changes that came through from the third ban. An early game priority onto a support doesn't always show your hand. Like if they first picked Alex Straza, I'd be a little worried. But here we're actually going to get a Diablo and a kind of a clap back with a Kael'thas on the left-hand side. I like this coming out from Once Bitten, Thrice Pie, but what do you go into before you go into the ban phase here, Cat Peach?
Ooh, unless you are going to pick a tank that isn't the most obvious choice, I would say pick up your tank if you can, so you don't get banned out of it in the next ban phase coming up. So
yeah.
See the ETC. Honestly, I'm not sure if you're going with the ETC that it warrants that much, unless there's a couple other ideas going on the side, a few loose screws, and they didn't want to give away too much. So we might see something like a Jaina ban to go with that ETC, or even the Maev's already banned out, but something to capitalize on something like the Mosh Pit.
Jaina?
But I just wasn't expecting ETC to be the warrior pick this early, but you know, we see the mouthfeel.
So the one thing I'm sitting here wondering as well is because Infernal Shrines is a map where you can definitely play solo lane ETC, and you can pick up stage dive. I'm a little surprised that they're not worried about the Jaina on the side of, Once Bitten, Thrice Pie. Obviously, because they banned out a Malthael, they're gonna Cho'Gall here. We all know that answer right now. No. It's like Wandering Keg. If you believe in it, it'll exist. They could actually ban out the Chen here, but it's going to be the Anduin. They don't want to deal with that Leap of Faith, that Light Bomb once again. That was actually really, really good Anduin play coming out from Falondrith. That was something that I didn't highlight much, if at all, during the match, but Falondrith on that Anduin had some really good Leap of Faith. They had some great Light Bombs, some really good healing to the friendly team. And so taking that out, it's a bit of a respect right there. But these next two bans coming out, realistically, maybe looking at a Tyrande to follow up into the Diablo, or you go there. So yeah, I like the Tyrande with the Diablo, and also that Kael'thas, just so much CC and control, and now Imperius. So the members of Once Bitten, Thrice Pie definitely love their control and their lockdown and their blow up, because that's what they're kind of playing once again. You have Diablo with the Shadow Charge, Kael'thas with the Gravity Lapse, you have an Overpower as well, you have a Celestial Charge, you have a Lunar Flare, so much lockdown. You need to pick up 2 more heroes here. Something to go into that Imperius. What do you want?
I want a Jaina Thrall here.
I want the Jaina, and I like the Thrall for the solo lane, absolutely. Tychus to shred.
Or Tychus or Ragnaros, or neither of the things I want.
Okay. No cream. Alrighty. So Ragnaros, I haven't seen a Ragnaros on this map in forever, but this is a map where you definitely can play it, and it gets a ton of value because of the Molten Core as well as the Lava Wave to push out the waves and kind of buff. You could go into Sulfurous Smash, but I doubt we're going to be seeing that here. Last pick coming out from the members of Once Bitten, Thrice Pie. They need a little extra damage. Something into the Kael'thas Diablo, some lockdown. Ooh, push power with the Sylvanas. I actually really, really like this. I'm not going to lie, Cat Peach. Once Bitten, Thrice Pie's draft looks terrifying.
Yeah, it looks really good. Diablo just plays so well in Infernal Shrines into all those walls surrounding the objective. Imperius can definitely ruin the day of ETC if, you know, you have a power slide in, not necessarily enough follow-up from the rest of the team. The follow-up from Ragnaros is a bit slow if he's a bit too far back, and so Tychus and Junkrat really have to make sure that they are paying attention to ETC's positioning, making sure they're ready to follow up on any stun, any Echo Pedal that comes out to help isolate a target.
Alrighty. I was just making sure that my camera's... I'm just fixing my camera so that there's more bandit than me. But we are going to be loading in here in just a second. I think that the drafts are terrifying. This Tychus is a little bit of an outlier for me, and I'm wondering what kind of value that's going to bring to the table. I think that might be what kind of turns us around. The shred into Imperius and Diablo is something they're afraid of because of the Malthael ban. Lacerates were really strong as well, but Tychus shredding through some of these tanks could be what they need on the side of Filo Screws. But we got ourselves into our next game. Thank you all for watching, but let's go ahead and jump into game number 2 in this best of 3 series. And I push the right button. On the left-hand side, we got the members of Once Bitten, Thrice Pie trying to take us to game number 3 on Infernal Shrines. Ghost Dunk going to be on the Imperius. Professor Bobo going to be on the Sylvanas. Falendrith will be on the Tyrande. Snag will be on the Diablo. And Lighthouse rounds out the draft on the Kael'thas.
And over in the red, we have Few Loose Screws. We're going to see Lumpico on that Ragnaros, a Brewer 2 on the ETC, E-Bagatron on the Junkrat, Wipeout on the Ana, and a Cash on the Tychus.
Let's check out our mid. Oh, Sentinel coming through. GG's back. That's it. You got hit with the Sentinel. That's the game right there. No, we are going to be seeing our bottom lane. And Kael'thas on the left-hand side. Linehouse going for that Mana Addict at level 1. ETC will be going into the Proc Rack. Dash for that Tychus. And Sulfurous Hungers for the Ragnaros. We got a few questing talents in this game. We'll keep an eye on those. Look at that concussion mine that was right underneath Diablo, just waiting to actually push them in the right direction. We'll just kind of throw them back into the wave right there, but I like this so far, this matchup so far. Lumpico into Ghost Dunk in this top lane. I want to do my best to keep an eye on this, and I don't want to miss any of the kills in the potential rotations, but overall, I'm really, really liking this matchup so far.
Yeah, I'm curious
to
see. Ragnaros games are always interesting, because he can push out a lane really well. I think so long as he doesn't go too ahead of the minion wave that he's going to be all right. But obviously sometimes you just get a little bit greedy when you're offlane. Ooh, a nice concussion mine onto Snag. They get the Shadow Chargers to get back in onto a Brewer 2. Ends up backing up, but a little scared there for Diablo, but Diablo's got this just fine.
I'm loving so far what we have for a setup right now into our lanes. Like Lumpico, I haven't seen a Ragnaros into Imperius, and so far it seems like it's going over pretty good for the Imperius. At least their health is looking very high up right there, as Lumpico is going to be stepping into lane, and that's going to be Ghost Dunk just stepping out and also getting a few combos. Ragnaros just like, my dude, I'm just trying to stack. That's all I want to do. Stop. I just want to stack my Sulfurous Hungers and get some value. But Imperius is like, well, I don't have to worry about any quests. Let me just be overly aggressive in top lane and force back this Ragnaros constantly. Mid lane is going to have 2 Impaler camps matching up, and this is going to be Impaler camp and bottom lane going to be picked up here. A Brewer 2 will be going to scout this out, but I don't think they're going to be able to get it in time. They know that they're down here, but the rest of the team is going to be still in mid lane. So this will be Impaler camp in favor for Once Bitten, Thrice Pie in the bottom. And Lumpico and Ghost Dunk just in this standoff in top lane. I love this. Neither of them know that they're up here. Like, it's just Ghost Dunk doesn't know that Ragnaros is there, and Ragnaros doesn't know that Ghost Dunk is just below them. So it's just such a funny matchup just to see right there. But
I want to see them just have a dance off up there.
Yes. Just everybody go to mid, press the Y button, let the minions just battle it out. But that's going to be Lumpico able to get out right there, and this is going to be the bottom lane. A little bit of a back and forth, and we are going to be having a Frozen Punisher pop up in our top lane in the next 23 seconds. Do we have any sort of split for the Shaman camps, Cat Peach, or is this just going to be rotations for experience?
You know, I think getting the experience first and foremost, obviously. I don't know if we're going to see potentially either team keep someone in a different lane to try to get ahead on that experience and give the shrine over a little bit more quickly. I think there's equal amounts of wave clear on either side, but if you get a kill on Imperius, that sets you up pretty well in the experience department and the advantage department. So, shame.
Oh, yeah, hold on, though. This Ragnaros in a bit of a rough spot. A lot of damage going out. The healing from Wipeout so good. Can they keep them alive? One more healing dart's enough. Lumpico makes it out just fine.
Wipeout is an Ana god.
And they just go ahead and they jump into the Molten Core form. Typically, we see teams play with this Molten Core form a little bit later in the engagement, so that way they're able to then have the Molten Core just finish out the shrine. But so far, they've got good control over this, and they're going to be stepping further forward. Snag taking so much damage that Tychus is going to be just burning right through them, and they don't get the kill. 400 health right on them, and they're going to be able to back right out, and this is going to be the members of Filo Screws grabbing the Immortal here in the top lane. Oh, it's not fully grabbed. They're not even halfway. Yeah. I looked over.
Low.
I thought that they had this.
They can't go. Yeah, I mean, they're close, but I mean, we still have really good clear with the Sylvanas and the Kael'thas, so I think Once Bitten, Thrice Pie are still in this. The members of few loose screws trying to find the engagement. Snags goes in hard. There's the Lunarson. There's the Impale coming out from Imperius, and look at the damage coming out. Akash trying their best to get out. Ana has the heals available, but the members of few loose screws are forced back up yet again. 13-19 in terms of skeletal defenders. The clear coming out as fast as possible from Once Bitten Thrice Pie. It looks like they also need to go well tapped before this next engagement. They're going to go through that. Come back
clear.
in 30 though in the process of that well tap, so it looks like this might still be going over to a few loose screws.
Oh, Imperius is gonna get thrown around. That's gonna be a nice pick off in favor for the members of few loose screws. That is just, oh my god, Linehouse is gonna be thrown away. That's gonna be the knockback from a brewer two as well, and they actually get the counter kill onto the Junkrat right there. But that's gonna be Lompico finishing out this entire shrine, like just like you guys fight. I'm just gonna be a little lava creature down here. I'll grab these regen globes and let's push on in with this. But 7-7 in levels, 1-3 in kills, still very close in experience, and we're going to be seeing, I would expect Lompico to rotate out, just go ahead and continue to soak out while the rest of the team jumps in and tries to get a little bit of siege here, but it's just wipe out Nakash, and not the greatest siegers, but still going to at least put in some damage in this top lane.
Yeah, and Tyrande is such an interesting support, right?
Yeah.
Because we saw, I thought Once Bitten were going to have that, but just having to go back and use that well tap gave few loose screws the time to go in, get the fight advantage. But Tyrande, if she's not attacking things, right, she's not experiencing her full potential as a support, as it's such a part of her kit. And so it gets really tricky when you see everyone low. You have an Ana on one side who can just throw darts and heal people up as long as she wants, so long as she's able to. And so that always gets interesting when you have to reset and then go back in. Do you risk just going back in and saying, gosh, I hope I have the healing necessary for this? Or, you know, do you take the safe route? So always difficult questions that these teams are constantly having to answer in real time, as I get to sit back here and think about it after the fact. And be like,
absolutely.
Oh yeah, that was totally the right answer or the wrong answer.
I'm not sure if any team actually cares about band skin or mounts ever. Teams definitely do care, but there's just at the same time some teams don't notice or they don't care about specific mounts. But absolutely, Sky Temple is the one for quite a few that is the nuisance, and that was already banned out this evening, so that's all going to be aside. But I think that's a really, really good point that you made right there. Is just the pressure that they're applying overall. The one thing I also want to hit on all of this is just going to be the Junkrat in this draft. I was thinking about this while you were actually mentioning the overall draft so far. Is I like that there's so much initiation and dive coming out from Once Bitten Thrice Pie in that first game that they're like, cool, we're gonna pick Junkrat, and every time they step forward onto us, we have a concussion mine to force them back. So, and look at it, watch Junkrat. Whenever Diablo's charging in, they throw that concussion mine down for anyone else who's gonna be stepping forward onto the player who's gonna be controlled by the enemy team, and just knock them right away. This is going to be, though, rotations through the map, and they're going to be picking up experience. 10-10 in talents. We are going to be having a Mortar Punisher pop up in mid lane fairly soon. And I'm excited about this. Lava Wave is going to be coming through the mid lane as well. It's going to be more, I think it just forces the enemy team out of the lane. I don't think they're going to get value with this. Yeah, oh, hold on. That's going to be Ghost Dunk getting thrown around, and solo dance party. Just a solo dance for Ghost Dunk right there from a brewer or two, and they're not going to get a kill. But that was Apocalypse also procced at the same time, so long cooldowns coming out so far.
I was actually trying to figure out what the Apocalypse was for, because there wasn't anything obvious of like, oh,
yeah,
they'll be rooted and everyone's in place and everything's great for the APOC. But I guess simply as a counter to the mosh pit to say, if you're going to stand still, then I'm going to take this heroic that appreciates you standing still. And I suppose also for the High of Horus as well in that regard.
Ooh, they're holding this for as long as possible. I like that. I like that choice. They're gonna instantly grab it. So the reason I like them holding it out is because it delays into the lane. They actually do have vision onto this. They know that this is gonna be picked up. But the reason I like it being delayed so long is because the fact that it gets into the lane later, so it forces a rotation out of the enemy. If you have it early, kind of like this one, you're able to then rotate out, grab this, or clear that out, and then just wait for yours to push in. So overall, it's just really good plays so far from both sides. But just a quick thing to note, we do have 28 stacks on that Kael'thas from Mana Addict, so they've got a great shield right there. Power Slide from a Brewer 2. Doesn't have Mosh Pit for 49, but everything else is... Well, we don't have Apocalypse, we don't have Lava Wave, but Cat Peach. Can they actually get this clear? They can see the Ragnaros on top. Can they get the Shrine?
Ooh, if they can get the pick on a Ragnaros, that's a good advantage to have, and they go through, but they don't get the kill onto Lompico just yet. A Brewer 2 coming through, seeing if they can get the counter kill, and it looks like a big rotation from both teams coming through. to kind of come to the fight party, but it's fizzled out by the time everyone else starts to get there. But Ebaktron taking a bit of damage at the same time. Gets the Impale onto her Barutu. There's the power slide and the Echo Pedal for a bit of space. Kael'thas using the Phoenix to help with the clear, help with the zoning as well around this shrine. Ragnaros using the Molten Core to help with the clear. So helping to catch up a little bit in Skeletal Defender department. And this is so even right now, Bahamut, and just, I'm waiting for someone to step up, go in, and just get a kill. And there's a Shadow Charge. There's the damage onto ECC. The Lunar Flare just barely misses. The APOC is forced out to try to capitalize on the mosh pit. Tychus, though, is just wrecking Snag on the other side. The damage is there. Boris popped out, trying to keep the members of Few Loose Screws alive. Kael'thas going to fall, though, and it's looking like Punisher number 2 going over to a Few Loose Screws.
Mortar Punisher sieges in fairly well right now. They've also got the mid lane gate down. They've got a talent tier advantage over the enemy team. Can they get more than a fort? Jump over onto the Diablo. Full souls, if I'm not mistaken, on this Diablo as well. Yes, they are going to be fully stacked on that. So they're not going to be worrying too much about their health pool unless they get dove on extremely hard. And now this is, you can even see the posturing coming out from a few loose screws. They want to go beyond just this fort. That it will be the well taken out by the Punisher as well. That lane sustain being removed. Commandeer Odin will be summoned right now, and they're going to bring that into the siege right now. Once again, Jump going to be going out onto Snag. Really good targeting right there, using that Fire Stomp to pull him in. Also going to get a little healing out from that as well. They are going to be having this Punisher going down, and they're saying, you know what, it's not worth stepping any further forward. We'll just go ahead and back right out. As look at Ghost Dunk's posturing. If they stayed too long there, that would have definitely been a strong engagement for the members of Once Bitten Thrice Pie. But really good call here coming out. They do have one trap. That's going to be the Fire Stomp seeing the enemy team, and they just back right out. But Cat Peach, a really good siege coming out from a few loose screws, even on talent tiers, but a small lead going out in favor for few loose screws during that entire engagement. I really like how they're playing this game too.
Yeah, Snag going in, trying to get damage again out onto ETC, the Lunar Flare there, but just not quite enough damage to take out the Cow immediately. I do appreciate how quick Few Loose Screws was able to make the decisions to steal those camps and make those rotations right after that Punisher pick. Because sometimes some teams will be like, you know, what do we have available? Where are we? What should we do? Should we keep pushing? And they kind of stall for a little bit. Few Loose Screws had a plan. They said, let's disengage from this immediately, grab some additional pressure. And we see them now. They were kind of just hiding out in the lane, seeing if anyone showed on the map to catch that rotation. But they're going to, now that they know that Imperius is top, Sylvanas is mid, they're going to push hard into this bottom lane.
Lava Wave was really well timed out right there. Look at a Bruicher stepping forward. That's going to be a solo dance onto one. They pop the Apocalypse immediately. Linehouse will be targeted. They pop their Mana Addict shielding as well. That's going to be Tychus getting some good siege or some damage onto Snag right there. Lunar. Oh my god, the Starfall comes out, and that's actually the Nexus Forces 2 OP. They take down the fort, but they trade out the Tychus. No, they don't even take down the fort. Oh my god, they're going to turn this around. If they actually wipe the enemy team here, that's going to be so much value. That's going to be a second kill. They have a concussion mine to back off right there. Power slide from a Brewer too onto Snag, so they get 2 for none, and the fort going to be saved here with 130 health, Cat Peach. 130 HP.
That, it's a sneeze away, right? Well, very aggressive Shadow Charge coming in from Snag there. And I like the retaliation push coming into the bottom lane, saying we know we have just like a sneeze left on this fort. We have to push that out as far as possible while Few Loose Screws still has 2 members down. They also have the other lanes to worry about. I would like to see a couple of resources committed to maybe grabbing that top camp, trying to create a little bit additional pressure up there prior to the shrine, but at the same time holding onto that to have that counter pressure when the shrine is active. Also more of a safe decision, but 16's approaching for either side, so it's really a experience race at this point for both these teams.
Mid lane, little back and forth, but I'm so surprised that they're just not sending Junkrat with a couple of the grenades to go get the bottom lane fort. It's going to be passive experience gain in your favor. It'll also be periodic catapult pressure. I understand that this is also going to be the next Punisher lane, but I think having that just over the enemy team and having that spawn and pushing out is such a big power tool right there. 3 seconds on a Lava Wave for the Ragnaros. This is going to be the camp delayed on the left-hand side, and this is also going to... Okay, so there's going to be Lava Wave in bottom. That won't take down the fort, because I don't believe it does any structure damage whatsoever, and this will be Punisher started in favor for the members of Few Loose Screws. Can they pick up the 3rd Punisher of the game and go beyond? Actually, this minion wave is going to be doing all the work that they need, so there's going to be, I think, like one little auto from one of the minions, boop, boop, and it's going to be taken out right there. Protonics, thanks for the follow as well as we get into this next engagement. Commandeer Odin going to be coming in here as well. I thought I saw a mosh pit right there, but that's actually going to be their own damage coming in. Riptar going to be out as well. Snag going to be targeted. They're going to be still surviving with 400 some health, but Cat Peach, can they take it further than that?
They're trying not to expend souls immediately just yet. They're waiting for the heals, but Tyrande trying to heal up Ghost Dunk at the same time. Brutu getting in the face. Snag gets knocked out of the mosh pit by accident, but the concussion mine is there to launch them back into the fight. They're trying to get the shadow charge in the flip onto a brew. Ragnaros popping the molten core. Is the stun there? It doesn't connect. It barely misses, as well as the rest of the damage. So once bitten, thrice pie. Hold on to their lives, but they are so desperately on the retreat here as this arcane punishing now going toward their keep gate.
A little anti-synergy already said in chat. I agree. That's just unfortunate right there. We are going to be having Ragnaros pop out of that Molten Core form. They didn't instantly finish both of their quests right there. That level 1 and level 4 is just a little bit of a UI bug that we have as they drop out of their Molten Core form. But that will be top lane fort going down to the Shaman camp. Those left uncontested will do a ton of damage. And so you can already see that happening up there. A lot of good pressure coming in from a few loose screws. They're definitely playing this game, I wouldn't say so much slow as just methodical, and a lot of their choices are very, you know, like, all right, we want to have top lane pressure, then we're going to hold them in bottom lane, we're going to try and push them out, and they did a really good job of that. Meanwhile, in top lane, the Shaman camp getting value for them, and it will be pushing into this keep front gate. Won't be able to take it out because Ghost Dunk is now up here for the defense, but they've kind of systematically taken them apart, you know, fort by fort, front gate by front gate, and that allows them to have kind of this advantage on the map where they're able to rotate this aggressive. There's no major sort of talent tier or level advantage. It's very, very close, about a half a level between these two teams when it comes to experience, but it seems like with a lot of these team fights and that Junkrat with the concussion mine, they're just denying so much dive and so much blow up potential. But now they got two camps in mid, a camp in bottom, and some catapults. Let's see what they're able to do with this Cap Peach.
There's the power slide onto Diablo. The flip, though, to help Snag escape. The concussion mine comes out. Snag gets launched back, but able to use the shadow charge onto the Shaman camp in order to get the escape. Meanwhile, Loose Screws set their sides back onto this bottom heap. Lava Wave comes out through top. This pushing out that wave. Heap is falling. The rest of Once Bitten, Thrice Pie trying to see if there's anything they can do to find some kind of engagement, but with the Shaman camp and the catapult here, there is just enough of a defensive line for a few Loose Screws and team to get the keep and back out away.
There was actually loudspeaker. Or no, it wasn't loudspeaker. What was it, 13? Encore. It was Encore, because I thought it was the concussion mine from the Junkrat, but it was Encore from ETC. Yeah. The own ETC knocked themselves out. I was cheating. I read chat, and they actually gave me the answer to that one. But we have mid lane being pushed in right now, as that will be the Molten Core form going to be popped once again. Akash will be also in the Commandeer Odin trying to push in here as well. Braggarton taking a bit of damage, but they're just going to be able to play from range. They won't be able to confirm this keep, but they're still pushing back the enemy team quite effectively. They have a Mosh up and available. Are they going to be able to go for a couple members here? Let's see if they actually pop it. There's so many members around a Brewer 2, but they're so far away in the lane. That's also going to be the Eye of Horus use. That will, oh my god, so much damage under a Brewer 2, and they're not able to get out. That will be a pick for the members of Once Bitten, Thrice Pie, and you can see them backing out right now, but they've got lanes to manage. Oh, they actually
very nicely done by Ghost Dunk to get the impale onto the Ana who had the Eye of Horus out. And as soon as that was done, ETC just fell. So really good positioning. I was actually a little bit worried that Ghost Dunk might not survive that, but he's fine. Imperius is good. He's an angel anyway.
You know, as angels do, they'll still get the kill.
Hashtag just angel things. Haha.
Now look at they're playing a little far in that lane right there, but I think they were just gonna go and maybe they were getting a little bit of a wave clear. I don't actually see any minions going down, but they'll wait for their ETC. They kind of have to wait for their ETC here. They've also got top lane pressure amounting. They've got bottom lane pressure amounting. They're going to need to respond to this at some point. This will be an easy clear coming out from the members of a few loose screws. They can see that there are quite a few over here, so they're just going to focus on this the shrine at this time, trying to get all these skeletal defenders cleared out. But 1 second on ETC, they're back in. Let's see if they're going to be able to step forward onto this. Lava Wave comes through mid lane to push this out once again. Bottom lane has catapults approaching the core. They're going to need to respond at some point to that pressure. And 20 talent tier is also here. Commandeer Odin going to be coming out, and they're going to be having that big red button for the upgrade onto that, and they're going to use that immediately. Bottom lane core is going to be attacked right now. Sylvanas is going to be there, and they just back right out. ETC so aggressive right now, Cat Peach. Ooh.
Power slide, you just gotta go back from that.
No big deal.
No big deal. The cow knows what's up. But yeah, having to have Sylvanas go back to defend the core means that quick catch up in skeletal defender progress from few loose screws, and they're gonna get yet another Punisher here just because Once Bitten, Thrice Pie can't go in. They don't have the full team together at the moment. They're down their level 20. And with the Lava Wave, now this thing was additionally pushed out just a bit before this. And we have everyone kind of hiding in the shadows, Diablo and ETC here. on either side of the wall.
Submerge.
Just reach your hand out and touch.
Submerge for Lompico. Jump going to be going on to Snag. They're trying to pull it over into this top lane. I don't think it's going to be working out too well. It sits there for a minute, and then it says, no, I'm going to go back into mid. Realistically, though, they don't need to take this down, but the Punisher really wants to take down this mid lane keep. They can now step up onto core. It's 20-20 when it comes to Talontier. We do have ETC with the power slide right there. That's going to be the Molten Core used by Lompico. They get a huge swing onto a few members right there, and they can step further forward into this. Can the members of a few loose screws end the game right now? Phoenix comes out from the Kael'thas as well to push them back a little bit. Another swing out from Ragnaros. The Molten Core will be ending right there, and they're going to now step forward onto the core. Phoenix going to be ending as well. Punisher sitting at about 25% of its health. Riptire out from the Junkrat as Snag is going to get that right to the face. They drop the Apocalypse as they pick that up as their 20 talent tier. I don't know what that is called off the top of my head, but that's Ghost Dunk stepping forward as well. A lot of damage coming out. That's going to be the Eye of Horus coming out. Mosh Pit onto 2. Is there anything to interrupt it? Not right there, and that's going to be Tyrande and the Kael'thas going down. Ghost Dunk will be picked off as well, and that is going to be the core starting to fall, and it looks like the members of Few Loose Screws are going to be taking the series in a 2-0 fashion. GG. Well played.
Far more, I don't want to say necessarily dominant in game number 2, but Few Loose Screws definitely had control that entire game. I think there maybe was one fight that really kind of pushed them back, gave Once Bitten Thrice Pied an opportunity to, catch up and, pushing back some pressure and all that, but from the very beginning, Few Loose Screws just really had a handle on that match, and it's led them to a very nice 2-0 victory in their favor.
A very nice 2-0 victory. Let's go ahead and find out if one of the players wants to do an interview, which I need to figure out who is my main contact. It's going to be Wipeout. There we go. Couldn't remember. That was I actually really like, though, the response in game number 2 coming out from the members of A Few Loose Screws. They saw, and I think they adjusted their draft based on what we saw from the game number 1 on Once Bitten Thrice Pied. They played aggressive, they jump, they dive on so many members and try and go for the blow up, and it was kind of mitigated in game number 2. Just one.
Yeah, it was so nicely done, and you always worry about the ETC because he's a little soft for a cow. But Ana just doing a fantastic job keeping him alive in a lot of these engagements, and the Eye of Horus just getting so much value that entire game. Well, post 10, because you don't have Eye of Horus at level 1. Surprise. But yeah, very nicely done. And even Tychus, it wasn't like it was obvious that Tychus was just chunking down people, but a few times saw Cash go in, and just the things done with that Tychus were disgusting. And having Commandeer Odin as well to help defend around those shrines proved invaluable.
It absolutely did. Let's go ahead and jump into Lobby 1, as I do believe we have an interview waiting for us down in there.
There's 100 people in Lobby 1.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Hold on one second. Let's go to Lobby 2. Sorry, Wipeout. I did not look and see if there was anyone in Lobby 1. My apologies if everyone was like, "What are you doing here?" But congratulations on your 2-0 victory. How you feeling?
Thank you. Bit of a relief. It's our first win, so.
Congratulations on your first win, my friend.
Thank you.
So let's talk about game number 1, because they had a lot of pressure on your team, and it seemed like the game really started to come around as you were getting into the later half. Did it feel like your team, were you waiting for a late game value? What was it that really kind of turned that game around for you? Because it was such a terrifying early game, and it almost seemed like they were definitely going to be taking Braxis off of you guys.
It was, but we kind of had faith in Lompico that he would hold his own, and he'll tell you he started out with a few kinks, but then it turned around and everyone just kept their heads up and nobody tilted, and yeah, it just turned around. We just slow played it, I guess, and
it worked out really good. No, I had an absolute blast with it. Selexia, thank you for the 69 bits.
Thanks, Lexi.
And that's actually those are for you as well. And actually, the message is 69 bits for Wipeout. So, Selexia, thank you for gifting those towards Wipeout. But I don't want to have all of this interview. So let's go ahead and throw it over to Cat Peach.
Well, congratulations, number 1 Wipeout. You mentioned that this is your first win so far in the season. So, what would you say the difference is with your team now versus the start of the season? What's kind of changed to get you now to this position where you're taking your opponents 2-0?
Well, I'm not gonna. Well, we had 2 subs, so that's a huge difference. But everyone communicated really well. Everyone participated in everything that we did, and there was constant chat regardless of if we were down. Like in the start of the first game, we obviously were not doing amazing, and everyone just kept talking, and we kind of watched each other's back. So that was the difference, I think.
Mm-hmm. Has that always been the attitude on the team, or is it something that you all have had to really practice at and almost train yourselves to do? Because it can be really difficult to not start to question your own play and question other people's play when you are down for so long in a match. So what's that process like for you guys?
We usually start off well and then just get quieter and quieter and quieter and then stop talking. So this was good because we were able to turn around the game, and then everyone just kept it up.
Now, going into game number 2, you saw, at least this is my observation, and maybe you can talk a little bit closer to this. When they were diving, you saw her in game 1, you pick up this Junkrat. Was the Junkrat and the ETC and all that kind of control, like, was that for the denial of all this dive and blow up, or was it just like, we want the poke, we want the vision? Can you talk a little bit about that draft and how you kind of responded to game 1?
Yeah, we wanted a bit of a safer draft. We actually initially were thinking of going a bit of a divey comp ourselves, but Snag is a really good tank, and basically it was respect. So we got rid of the noob because that was the biggest headache the entire game 1. And basically the Ana was also kind of it denied 2 things, Alex, and she's really good into Diablo in my opinion. Yeah. So that we drafted against the dive. We basically just drafted a safe comp.
It was such a I love the compositions that you brought to the table both games, and I like the kind of response, I guess you could so much call it, as also just the adjustment you made as a team for game number 2 to kind of react to their playstyle. That was just a smart move on your end, and it was just such a great game. I don't have any more questions. Cat Peach, do you?
Nothing for me. Just congratulations yet again, and hopefully y'all have some more 2-0s in your future after that.
Yeah.
Oh, here's hoping.
well, before we let you go, we want to at least give you the floor for some shout-outs. It's all yours if you want to thank anyone or say anything to the stream.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you to both our subs, a brew or two and eBagatron. You saw it was awesome. They both had to put in the work, and ebag or a brew or two actually had to go to a cafe because his computer completely crapped the bed yesterday. So
brew boy, best boy.
He put in a ton of effort. Thanks to our usual guys who unfortunately were working so they could make it, and obviously thank you to the to Once Bitten Thrice Pie. They're awesome. Love them.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for the interview. Thank you so much for the games. I can't wait to see you further down in the Nexus Gaming Series season.
Oh yeah, and I forgot my team too. Great
yeah, I guess those guys, whatever. But
thanks for casting, guys.
Absolutely, it was our pleasure. Thank you so much for the